All right, this is part 2 here. We don't have a whole lot more to go. We just finished rather question 15 in the Unit 1 study guide. This is the test practice assignment that you had for homework. I'm just going over these answers right here. We left off with number 15. We finished that. And so number 16 is shown right here. Let me kind of adjust this. Working on pipes. Notice this, when you're thinking through what do we do to solve a problem, just think of the numbers and what do the numbers represent. Here we see he needs pipes that are 3/4 of a foot long, I should say a foot in there, 3/4 of a foot long, but he has a total here. So the question, here's the total right there. The question is how many 3/4 lengths can be cut from a 6 1/3 foot pipe. So he has a long pipe that's 6 1/3 pipe, and he's cutting that pipe into sections. So that is a division problem. Notice that we start with the dividend here is the number, that is the total. 6 1/3 is the total amount, and 3/4 here is what he is cutting into, the sections he is cutting. So it is 6 1/3 divided by 3/4. And so we just walk through this division process. We see that we change the 6 1/3 into a fraction here, 19/3. And I went ahead and multiplied. See, there's our multiplication, and there's our reciprocal right there. Multiplied by the reciprocal, 4/3, 4/3. So in that case, we just multiplied straight across, 19 times 4 and 3 times 3, and we got 76/9. So at this point, you can simply divide 76 divided by 9. So this is how we get our mixed number, 76 divided by 9. 9 goes into 76 how many whole times? 8, and that's our whole number, 8, because that's 72. 4 is left over, so that's how we get our fraction 4/9. So 8 and 4/9 is our answer for the 8 and 4/9 is what we got. The question is, like, how many useful pipes does he have? He only has 8. He can't use 4/9. So this remainder really is kind of thrown away, like tossed in the extra pipe pile, right? Because he can't use that size. He needs 3/4 foot. So the answer then you would put is B right here. Okay, let's look at question 17. Remember, as we go along with these, you feel free to stop, pause the video, and work these out again so that you understand how to do that. So here we have a total. Notice again, we have a total amount, and we are seeing how many of these groups that we see here, how many of these are in 3 cups. So how many 3/4 are in 3 cups? Because every 3/4 is a batch of cookies, and we love cookies, so we want as many batches as we can. So our math problem is 3, our total, divided by 3/4. And that will give us the answer. You can use the number line and say, well, I have 3, so from the number line from 0 to 3, if I cut off right here, I have from 0 to 3, and I have groups of 3/4. How many groups do you have? Well, here's one group of 3/4. I'm going to circle that. It's just 1, 2, 3/4. Another 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So there's a group 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So I have 4 groups, and that's going to be my answer. You can also work this problem out. So here we have, make sure our fractions are here. Here we have our 3 written as a fraction. I want to multiply by the reciprocal, so multiply by the reciprocal here. And you could either multiply first, 3 times 4 and 1 times 3, and then do 12 divided by 3, 4. That works. You can also simplify first, so you see there's 2 3s up here, and those will become a 1, and then 1 times 4 and 1 times 1 will give you straight to your answer, 4 over 1. Number 18. So in this case, it's asking you to simply put in place the order of division. So we see here the same idea. We have a total amount of flour. Each recipe needs that much, so how many batches can he make? So what is the order of working out? 22 and a half. You don't have to work it out. We're just asking you what's the order of it, right? So the first thing we need to do is do what I just did right there. Write the math problem. That's number 5. I'm going to put 5 right here. So first one, we got to do write the math problem out. Now we need fractions, right? So I'm going to multiply and multiply 2 times 22 and add the 1 right there. So I get 45 over 2. Now remember, you don't have to do this. It's only asking you for the process. But it does help to kind of walk through and say, okay, now I got my fractions. Where's that? Rewrite any mixed number and whole numbers as fractions. So that's our next step. Now what do? I've got 2 fractions. Now I want to rewrite this problem as a multiplication problem to make it easier. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So that is step number 3 right there. And it looks like we're ready to multiply. So we can multiply our numerators and multiply our denominators. Now you might be thinking, wait a second, we can also simplify first. And you are exactly right. We could simplify before we multiply. So if you said the next step was 6, that's okay. I would consider that correct. However, for this case, we're just going to go ahead and multiply first and get like 1 is 80, I believe. 180 and 10 right there. So I went ahead and just multiplied those. That was step number 1. Again, if you put step 6 and said multiply, that's fine. Or you said simplify, that's good. That's fine. You're okay. This isn't for a grade. This is just for helping you out. And then we would simplify, divide by 10, get 18 over 1. So we simplify and make it a mixed number, or in this case, a whole number. So that would be it. So our answer is then, do that out of the way. Here we go. 5, 2, 3, 1, 6, 4. You can also, some of those can be switched right there too. So that's good. All right, let's take a look at the last question here. So in this problem, there were a lot of as I have graded these types of problems where there's, who is this? Is this Bob? Bob did this right here, and he made a few errors right here. What you would want to do, watch this carefully, because you'll have to answer questions like this. Watch this. You need to work through this problem, okay? Don't just look at it and say, oh, I see one thing right there, 8. The 8 came down and he made a 0. Done. I'm finished. And type it up. You're not going to get very many points for that because there's much more and bigger things incorrect. So let's walk through this. Take your time, walk through it, and find out really what did he do wrong here. Okay, so in this case here, we're starting off with 31. Okay, 31 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, and so as I'm working through this problem, I'm also kind of looking over to see what he did. I see the 6. I see 30. He subtracted and got 1 just like me. Okay, so far so good. And so then I'm going to bring the 7 down. Notice this. I'm not looking at his and copying what he did. I'm doing my own correctly and then seeing if he did the same thing. Okay. So how many groups of 5 are in 17? There's 3, right? 3 times 5 is 15. And then we subtract and get 2. What did Bob do? Here's the step. We're here. How many groups of 5 in 17? He said 2 and then took 10 away. All right. So that right there is his first mistake. But he did try to fix it. He said, wait a second, I have one more group. So that's where he is right here. I have one more group to take away. But did he put the 1 above the 2. It should be still in that same place value. He didn't. He put it above the 8 in the wrong place value. Remember, only when you bring the 8 down should you put something above it. And he has not yet brought the 8 down. So he can't put an answer above the 8. He should, if he wanted to, add the 1 to the 2 there, and that way he would add those together and get 3. So that was his big mistake right there. And then if we continue, we see that there's 5 groups in 28 with 3 left over. So we just continue that. There's our decimal point, right? Bring the nexus, and 6 times 5 is 30. So we would have nothing left over. Come on now, 30. No remainder there. So 635.6. That's our correct answer. And we kind of talked through some of the things that I would type in for that explanation. Okay, so look for the big error that he makes here. And of course you can mention he brings the 8 down and didn't have a decimal. Those are some other errors that he made, but that was also a large one too. Okay, so that is, that's everything, right? Yep, that's everything. So go over those again, study those, make sure you know how to divide and all that other good stuff. Thank you guys.